about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession.
Hello, folks. Richard Moore, USAGSA. And I've got another segment of the Underbelly of Corruption in North Mississippi. And I'm telling you, folks, as I continue to investigate this corruption of this bail bonding company, Corbett Bonding, proprietor, of course, is Brian Corbett, and all of his bondsmen conduct business under his license. They're his agents. And I'm not going to get into the multiple companies and what I believe also as shell companies where money is moved around and where gifts and so forth are bestowed on officials and law enforcement, etc. We'll take it one layer at a time. And each layer, you can rest assured, is just as significant, as important as the first layer. And I'm going to give you the prime reason that the likes of Brian Corbett is making millions of dollars a year in the bonding business and has effectively got the complete market cornered in North Mississippi, thus making it impossible for an honest bonding agent to conduct business. Many of them have complained in the past, but it's falling on deaf ears. Well, it hasn't fallen on deaf ears. I think we're at a point in time in this country, and especially in this state, where we've had enough of the underhanded, corrupt, lying, and misuse of grant money, misuse of funding, abuse of power and the color of law, and the abuse of those that are marginalized and affected by poverty. It's one of the poorest states in the union. And these people, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely capitalize on those that are less fortunate. They make it certain that these individuals that are in this lowest rung of a socioeconomic standard remain there. Thus, they can remain on the top of their proverbial mountain. And I thank you. I think that it's high time that I've had enough of this shit, folks. I've had enough of it. So I'm going to lay it out as why Corbett is this guy's in hot water. He didn't think he's in hot water. He thinks that I'm just selling wolf tickets and just loud and nobody cares. All these talking points of the community orgasmic stalking program, which they obviously have cast their lot with the deal, and it's this machine that feeds the judicial system, that feeds these wrongful convictions, wrongful arrest, constitutional rights violation, wrongful imprisonment. The whole thing. There's a lot of people have got shit on their shoes. And folks, they'll do everything they can to suppress the truth and try to scare away and eliminate the truth tellers. And we talk about that this more time than we should on this channel. But before I jump into it real quick, in the description of the video is our link tree. And we're supported by listeners, viewers, and followers, folks. This is not a deal set up to make money. You hadn't seen me try to sell you anything. Without your support, we can't continue doing what we're doing. And so if you go to that link tree, Cash App time, there's a donor box, GoFundMe, there's 1,000 ways. The super thanks down at the bottom. You can hit that. You become a channel member, or you become a free or paid subscriber with my Substack. As an investigative journalist, I've written extensively about these corrupt programs, naming the people and the place and what they're doing. Also, giving voice to the voiceless. Or if you enjoy our content and you want to take your stand against corruption and to help bring this country back to where it should be, where due process is real, the Constitution is for everyone, and that those that take oaths to enforce these laws actually do it, and that we're not living in this two-tiered system. You can become a patron on Patreon. That link is in there as well. My contact information is in there as well. So I encourage your comments down there below. Contact me. Hit that like button. Folks, reason I tell people that is I'm not. They do the spotlight. It has everything to do with the algorithm and what's going on in the algorithm with Google and so forth. So if you hit that like button, make that a habit. Share and share relentlessly. So I'm going to say two things for those that said, well, you know, Corbett, those people, that's my friend. He got me out of jail and all that. Look, let me tell you what. Mr. or Mrs., whoever saying that, these people that you think they're your friends are not your friends, okay? They're your friends because they're coming down there to the jail and they're bonding you out. I'm fixing to tell you what they're doing that's very, very illegal and criminal. And there's a lot of people doing it. And folks, I can't make any more clear than this, okay? This is the deal. So Corbett, Fat Boy Corbett has got a lot of people caught up in his web of corruption and deceit. Now, that first video, you may have seen him pictured with Dog, the bounty hunter, and I'm not going to go into that deal, but I know Dog. Been knowing him. We both was vacuum cleaner a bit years ago before he ever become a bounty hunter. Before Corbett ever thought about writing a bond. And stayed in touch, and I contacted him. This is what you tell me. I don't know about that fat son. It's a photo op. I said, "Why do you do that?" I just wanted. We got a few laughs. That was it. Now, so this y'all's clarification on that. It's not always what you know till you know. Now, there's two things, folks. Now, if anybody out there that has had the unfortunate opportunity to go to jail, many of you have gone to jail for petty crimes, made up crimes. Oh, how I know. And you go through the process. Well, folks, this is where Corbett, that's their bread and butter. According to the Marshall Project, over an 18-month period, Corbett took in $2.6 million in bond money. 46% of that were for bonds of $5,000 or less, which represents, and out of those bonds at 46%, those people all almost exclusively were at or below the poverty line. Also, exclusively, Corbett arranged payments on these bonds. Of course, he's skating on thin ice with his. There's a lot of issues there with the truth in lending. And not being set up as a finance company like a payday loan or a title loan or something else, and that's but making installments on a premium is one thing. But anything over and above that, then he is on thin ice. But we're not going to talk about that right now. But we'll say if you got on bond, they took a payment, and you can't make the payments. And they tell you, well, you're going to go back to jail. We're going to come off your bond. Well, that's a damn lie. They can't do it, and the judge don't give a shit if they ever get their money. The only thing the judge cares about is that you're at court when you're supposed to be. Period. Corbett, if they on the hook for it, it's a civil matter. And if you've been threatened and been coerced and all this kind of stuff on that deal, my contact's down there if you want me to hear from you. I'll be more than happy to hear from you. But here's the big problem, boys and girls. The statute, okay, Mississippi Code 8339-25. I want you to pay real close attention to what I'm saying, folks. No professional bail agent shall charge or receive, directly or indirectly, any sum greater than 10% of the amount of the bail and $50 per bond, whichever is greater as a premium for executing any bail bond. Anything beyond that any processing, turnkey, booking, or administration fee is unlawful unless it's specifically authorized by a statute. And guess what, folks? There is no statute authorizing a turnkey fee in Mississippi's bail laws. Let that sink in. Alabama and Tennessee, several other states, because of this, quickly eliminated it. We're talking of billions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen, that the likes of Brian Corbett are collecting illegally and handing to the sheriff, and he is receiving that money illegally. This brings higher and more serious implications for the sheriff himself. Corbett is, of course, is exceeding the statutory fee cap, violating A3925. And he for receiving an unlawful consideration for the bond and possibly engaging in collusion with jail personnel. Is the fee is being split or remitted to the jail? That turnkey fee, we know where it's going, and they've 100,000 people will testify to that deal of the turnkey fee. Y'all all know there ain't no such thing as just a gray area. What? Not when citizens are out here getting arrested for trumped up bullshit. Then all of a sudden we got those that are supposed to be enforcing the law talking about some gray area, mumbo jumbo. Well, we're going to get the mumbo jumbo there. Likewise, public officials accepting the money violate 97-11-11, and that's taking unlawful fees, or 97-11-33, and that's public officer receiving unauthorized compensation. I told you over the first, we were going to talk about these people that are getting their palms greased, and this money being paid under the table, and other things. Folks, I'm telling you, for anybody that has followed this channel for any time, I do not make and write these checks that that'll bounce. Okay, they're good. You can cash them. If I'm talking about it, if I'm naming them, then you can bet your sweet baby Jesus that's what's happening, and it will stand up in any form, any courtroom, anywhere. Provided it's not a kangaroo court. And we got plenty of those. That justice court, kangaroo court. Of course, it's a criminal conduct. So Corbett's trying to pay for play racket. And here's the bail bonding company. Is well, I just told you that that the statutory cap, they're going over that, and the payment to the jailers, and of course insurance fraud if it's the insurance, and of course we're talking about license and misdemeanor, but the charges and so forth in the jail and the sheriff receiving unauthorized fees and conspiracy or bribery statutes. Civil rights violations under the color of law. I'm going to tell you why it's a civil rights violation, folks, and why this is illegal. And folks, I'm telling you something. Do you think for some reason they are not aware of this? You think that, by God, they're aware of it. But who's going to take on City Hall? We've got so much other things going on. Who wants to talk about that? Well, folks, that's the reason you got so much other things going on. They gonna keep you busy all day long. Look over there where you know what the other hand's doing. And what the other hand's doing is taking hard-working people that pay taxes, that have a job, or people that can't work, people that are trying to their best, living from paycheck to paycheck, don't know how they're going to put food on the table or gas in their car. These people are being exploited to the hilt. And somehow I think people feel like that's okay. It's not okay. The sheriff and the people at the jail, could face criminal prosecution, loss of office, and of course, 1983 liability forfeiture of funds. The county government, civil liability, unconstitutional detention, or unlawful enrichment, probably both. You see, when they take these fees that are against state and federal laws, this turnkey fee, my friend, the county, of course, and of course the sheriff personally, the whole gamut becomes liable. Now, what does that mean for you and I? Well, we're gonna pay the bill. We're gonna pay the bill. We're paying millions already, and when they screw up, they don't care because we're paying the bill. We're paying the insurance company to insure this stuff, and these hordes of attorneys to represent their lawlessness. We're not looking at the underbelly of corruption on a proper perspective, because the fake media, especially in North Mississippi, they are news readers, and they are only going to print or say what they're told to print or say. So if the sheriff said this XYZ happened to this person, it wouldn't matter if they saw it. If 100,000 people saw it with their own eyes, totally different, they're not going to report that. They're going to report the way they're told to report it. And I don't expect that's going to change anytime soon. I want them to keep doing that. That way people can get this stark contrast between what's real and what the hell's fake. The turnkey fee is not just a violation of a state law. It raises serious constitutional problems. The due process, this 14th Amendment, that defendants are being charged with unauthorized hidden fees to gain release from jail, creating a two-tiered justice system based on wealth. Equal protection. Poor defendants disproportionately are harmed. Of course they are. And they're disproportionately charged and dragged through the system. They're part of the deal. And I thought this was my friend. Well, look, good cop, bad cop. I promise you, you'll think friend. You got a friend in Jesus, folks. Everything else, you better count your money. 42 USC 1983, of course, opens the door for federal civil rights lawsuit and unlawful deprivation of liberty and property under the color of law. In fact, as what I was saying earlier, federal courts in Louisiana, Alabama, and Tennessee have already struck down nearly identical turnkey or booking fees when they were not expressly authorized by law. Mississippi, you're next. You're listening to the person that's going to make sure that happens. You might want to ask somebody, Brian. It ain't my first rodeo. Hey, you can put your tubs out. If I tell you it's going to rain, put your tubs out. Now, I think that when we talk about millions of dollars and this gamut of business as usual, and surely Moore is mistaken. Surely he's missed something somewhere. I ain't missed a damn thing. I'm calling a spade a spade. And I'm going to tell you, until it will require that envelope being pushed into that public forum in a federal courtroom before some of them will give it up. Give it up. You see, because they make a lot of money on this turnkey fee. So they've got all these, there was an open beer can in the back seat of the car. And they take them to jail, tow their car, and all that stuff. Or pay things like a $300-400 bond and come to their home, do several $1,000s in damage. Like it's okay. Because the people that we abuse are people that are literate, and they can't get yourself out of a wet paper sack. We're not worried about it. We run this deal until you don't. Until you don't. You see, these criminals, ladies and gentlemen, are trying to pose as law-abiding citizens, and they've got the audacity to point their finger at someone else that may or may not be have been arrested, and look at them as if they're a lesser of a person. No, they're simply their meal ticket. And we're at the top of the mountain, and we're running shit, and fuck the poor corridor. It's not okay. And we're going to expose it until the cows come home. I promise you that. We're going to do that. A bondsman can't legally charge more than 10% plus $50. That $25 turnkey fee is unlawful. And it's not authorized by Mississippi law. And the jail that collects or splits this fee is an illegal kickback under multiple statutes. The practice exposes both, of course, the bonding company and local law enforcement to criminal prosecution and federal civil rights liability. Now, folks, that is today's layer. The layer on a big fat onion. Now, folks, that people, that hadn't had a chance and don't feel like they'll ever need to deal with a bail bondsman or any of those things, and they're hoping, they're hedging their bets that you will ignore this because it doesn't apply to you. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't pay taxes then. So your tax dollars have propped up and helped finance and make it possible for these illegal entities and crime syndicates to thrive. And we just take it with a grain of salt. Well, you've got a criminal in chief that has lied under oath and it is practicing criminal behavior that's ever had the audacity to point the finger at anybody for breaking the way out this and that one. Well, that is nothing but a distraction. If he's a liar, he's a liar. If he's a thief, he's a damn thief. Now, I can't look at it any other way. If he lied under oath, with a hand on the Bible, then by God, I'm satisfied that anything past that is a damn lie too. A lot of good folks went in, not liars, but now it's turned them. They're not the same. They have had a taste of power and wealth. They're doing the Crooked Eddie Hawkins shovel in Lowndes County, Mississippi, building a fine custom-built home and living in the lap of luxury and controlling and snuffing people out and doing whatever at will, unchecked. And we're checking them. One by one, county by county, we are checking them. But this, one of the most corrupt, dark, underreported, not talked about criminal organizations in the state of Mississippi is your bail bonding company. Not all of them. But I can tell you, every one that collected that $25 fee knew he was breaking the law. Every official that accepted that $25 fee knew they were breaking the law. I think it's high time that we hold these people to the same standard that we're all supposed to be held to. I think that's high time. We the people, when we start holding those in positions of trust as law enforcement officials to a standard and even a high standard, because they're supposed to be setting the example. They're supposed to be the pace setter for a free society, not a juggling act of criminal behavior guised as keeping a community safe. That is a joke. But the community feels safe. Those that represent the vast majority of the state of Mississippi are being systematically, metaphorically, financially, gang raped, while those that others that sit back and attend the first church of the chosen frozen want to pretend like it's business as usual. No more. Not today. Not on my watch. Folks, there's more to come. You can rest assured. I've talked to a lot of people and people that count. I'm going to continue to do that because that's what we do. We're going to continue to dig and expose the truth and this underbelly of abject corruption in Mississippi. Until next time, God bless you.
They call me a